Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
And I'm Beth Ellicott.
And you're listening to the midweek version of Fiber Talk, the twice weekly podcast for needlework artists. Tonight, we're going to do a stitch and chat. Me, Beth, Jennifer, all three of us, two of us, whatever. But, yep, we're going to do that. So, that'll be 8 o'clock Eastern Time on the YouTube channel, the usual time, usual place. So join us for that. And next week, the 30th, nuts. The last Wednesday in March, whatever day that is. Why do I do that?
I don't know.
I don't know why I do that.
I don't have a calendar.
Why do I do that? Here, I'm going to have that date for you in just a second here. It's going to be very exciting. The 30th.
Yeah, so you know. Okay.
March 30, there will not be a show. My sister is coming, and we're going to go on an overnight bike ride, and so there will not be a show on March 30. Oh. So take a week off.
Good plan.
Yep.
Because taking all the equipment with you and trying to record in a hotel, that's not really fun. If you're on a bike.
Yeah, not hauling all that. No, not happening. No.
No.
Yep. So stitch and chat tonight, and then on the 30th we will not have a show, and then we'll be back in April for the regular schedule. But just going to have a week off there. So then that pushes, because when we do that, then May 25 was going to be our 500th show. So then that was a Wednesday. So then that pushes it to Sunday, which would be the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, which actually works out because then maybe we'll put together some plans and do a live show and have some guests and do some things. So
yeah, that'll be fun. It'd be fun to do a show with everybody, live show with everybody.
Yeah. I think so. Maybe we'll get some guests. Maybe we'll talk to Sharon Bruce over there in Ireland and have her join us for a few minutes and that kind of thing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because if we can do it on a Sunday and do it during the day, then European people are not in bed, so we can. So we'll put together some plans for the 500 show because we have to do something for that. I mean, 500 shows is just an awful lot of shows, so we got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have a little celebration.
Yes, that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beer and stuff. Yeah.
Beer. Oh, yeah. Maybe wine. I don't know.
Well, whatever is your beverage.
Okay. All right.
Whatever is your beverage. Okay, so this past Sunday, if you haven't listened, Claire Hunter was our guest. Stitching Her Truth is her new book about Mary Queen of Scots. Do go listen to that. It is that one was. I have to say, I'm really proud of that interview. I think we really did a good job of exploring the book without exploring the book.
Right, and because we didn't want to tell you everything that was in the book, because you really need to read the book. The book is fabulous.
Yeah. Yes.
But she's was a great interview too. So.
Yeah, she's fun. She's fun. Yeah. Yeah. So do that. The book is out. It was released on the 17th. I will say that if you go to Amazon, it is with shipping about $70, which is healthy. And I wrote to the publicist at the publishing company, and she explained that there is not a U.S. publisher for the book. And so therefore, it has to come from Europe and blah, 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 blah. So that price we've heard from a couple of people is like, holy smokes, what's that?
Right.
But I mean, it's really good. It's a really good book. And she said there are no plans for a publisher and U.S. distribution at this point, but who knows? That could change. Yeah. But now, I mean, like your library, that very well could be an option to get your library to get it. Because
right.
your library, you have like the best library in the world.
Yeah, just best small library. So yeah, and I know I've talked to her about it, and I'll mention it again. And especially since there are so many stitchers in my area, and I think people would like to read it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interlibrary loan sort of thing. But yeah, if you can talk your library at least into getting it, because it's a great book. It's a great book.
Yep. So, so I mean, and we also have heard from a ton of people who said, well, that they'd already ordered it, and several people ordered both books, both Claire Hunter books. Boy, they're going to be in for some fun reading there. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all that aside, it's a good book. Go listen to the interview, get the book. Really highly recommend listening to it or reading the book and listening to the podcast. Just really great. Claire is just superb. So check it out. This is Gary, just interjecting here. After we recorded this week's show, right after that, we learned from Claire Hunter that you can buy her new book from the Book Depository, bookdepository.com, for $22 with free shipping. So that's the place to go instead of Amazon. Bookdepository.com. Embroidering Her Truth, Claire Hunter, $22, free shipping. Now back to our regular, back to what we recorded. Now we had the Stitch St. Luce Women's Cooperative. We've talked about that the last couple of weeks. And Rebecca Dallimore, who is going to join us sometime in the fall. But we're in the process. I had offered that if people wanted to send needles and thread for the cooperative, for the ladies at the cooperative to use for their products, that you could send them to me and I would bundle them up and send them to Rebecca in England, in the UK, so that everybody didn't have to deal with customs forms and postage and all that stuff. So I've had several people who are sending things. Already have a couple of packages in right here on the table. And so if you want to do that, if you want to contribute, send an email, Gary@WeTalkFiber.com. I'll send you my address, and then you can mail them to me, and then I'll bundle them all up, and we'll send them to Rebecca in the UK so she can, because they have to go to Rebecca. Otherwise, it gets caught up in who knows what getting to Madagascar. So you go to Rebecca, and she knows how to get it there without 15 people taking their share out of it. So, yeah. And then in the last 2 Wednesday shows and the Wednesday night Stitch Hour shows, and I'll put it with this one in the notes, is a full set of instructions for how to mail. If you want to mail something yourself, you're welcome to do it. Please do. It won't offend me a bit. Trust me. But there are very specific instructions for sending things so that it doesn't cost the nonprofit organization fees and fines and time to go pick up things at customs and so on and so forth. So follow those instructions to the letter, and then it will get there, and the only cost will be postage to you. Or you can send to me, and then we'll do that. So, and then there was question about what type of needles. And so Kathy Matthews wrote to Rebecca, because you'd think I'd get my act together and do it, but I didn't. And then Kathy wrote to me and said, I already wrote to Rebecca, and here's the scoop. So the cooperative uses sharp needles for most of their work. This is from Rebecca. The cooperative uses sharp needles for most of their work from sizes 5 to 9. And then for thread colors, they work with whatever's available, but brighter colors like pink, green, yellow, and purple are used a lot. So 5 to 9 sharps, and any thread color, but pink, green, yellow, and purple are the popular ones. And I've had a couple people ask, does it have to be DMC? And I made an executive decision that no, 6-stranded cotton floss. So if you wanted to send Anchor or another one, that would be fine. I would make it the quality like you would stitch with. Don't go to Joann's and get that cheap DMC stuff that for school girls to make little bracelets with and stuff. Not that, because we know that's just not quality thread. But a 6-stranded cotton floss, DMC or an equivalent, Anchor is certainly an equivalent, would be what would work. So,
right. Right. And if, and you don't want to send something that they can't use, because it's a waste of postage. So.
Right. Yep. So send that. And somebody asked, is there still time? There's plenty of time. Plenty of time. I'm going to, we've been talking about this now for a couple of weeks. I'll wait another week or two and see. And if things start to taper off, then I'll bundle one up and send it off. But then if we get some other people that come along, then, we'll just send a second package. It's okay. They won't mind. Yeah, do it right away so you don't forget. But if it's going to be a little bit before you feel like you can do that, you need to go through your stash, and that's okay. There's still time. There's certainly a couple more weeks, if not more, before I'll send anything to Rebecca. So don't worry about that. So there we go. I think it's a great thing that we can do and help the folks in Madagascar with their business by getting them threads so they can make their products. And then if you're so inclined, go to Etsy and their store there at Etsy and buy some of their product. And they won't object to that either. So,
right.
Yep. So that's that. I guess that's all the announcements, isn't it? Looks like that's all we have. So, yep. Yeah. Buy Claire Hunter's book. Send DMC floss to me so I can send it to the Cooperative. Yeah, there we go. That'll work. Yep. So I got an email from Heather Haley. Now, I don't know Heather Haley. Maybe I've met her, but I don't know her. She said, and I thought, well, this is a fun thing to talk about. So Heather says, I'm writing an article for Needle Arts. That's the magazine for the EGA. It's the EGA magazine. An excellent magazine. And, join the EGA so you get that magazine. It's really good. So I'm writing an article for Needle Arts exploring what is the optimum number of embroidery projects. Now, this is all she said. This is what she said, direct quote. What is the optimum number of embroidery projects?
Yes.
Exactly.
A lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think she posted the same thing on Facebook on the EGA Stitch Along site.
Oh, okay.
And I took it as that what you're currently going to be working on. I have, umpteen projects that live in the basement that come up at various times. But as my WIPGO board will attest to, I like having a variety of projects going at the same time, though. I found the other day, I think I worked on 4 projects in one day. And I think maybe it's because I, scatterbrained, easily distracted, who knows what.
Yeah.
But I like to have something that's hard. Which would be, I consider a large project, something that is challenging. And that could be my whitework project, the 17th century, the painted canvas, the lizard project. If I'm trying to figure a section out on that becomes my large project.
Yeah.
But then I like to have a medium project where I'm just like working background. The More Than a Rose project kind of qualifies for that right now. I'm like background. And then, but I also like to have a small project. And a small project isn't necessarily physically small. I think of it as one that I used to travel with, something that I carry with me. And when the kids were little and I was, sitting and waiting for them, that tended to be Mill Hill bead kits. Because if you lost the whole thing, you were out at the most $20.
Right.
At the most. Yeah. And your time. But, it wasn't like you were losing, silks and all your threads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's $6 a skein. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but small could be a fairly large project. So like, Anya's Day at some point in time was my quote unquote small. The Portafette, I considered that a small project, even though it's huge. It's a huge project. But I just work on one little letter a day generally, and for 30 minutes. And okay, so then it's my little small stitch on that project.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. Because my initial reaction when I read that was, well, all the things. What's optimum? Well, yeah, whatever I've seen. Sure. Bring it on. But yeah, 3. I like, you see that? I'm with you on that. 3. One that's challenging, one that's kind of medium, and then an easy one you can travel with. That's like when I was traveling, my banded thing that I was working on, that was my travel piece because it was one thread color and a couple of charts that I could copy off the bands that I was working on, so I didn't have to haul a bunch of paperwork, and just a piece of banding and a hoop and my little fanny stand thing, and that was it. I'm good to go. Throw in some scissors,
Right.
and you're out the door. And yeah, I'd be sick if I lost that, but it's not like you would lose 20 skeins of silk thread, like you said. So you'd live.
Right. Right. And it's not that it's mindless, but it doesn't require a lot of thought. So when you're traveling, a lot of times you've got other things on your mind. You're trying to, you're doing business, so you wanted something that wasn't going to be too taxing. You didn't want to be. You could have had a small project, but it would have required more mental energy than maybe you would have had in the evenings to work on.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because, exactly. A day of trade show, I get back to the room, a day of trade show, and then a dinner where you got to make conversation with people that you really don't know, and, that kind of thing. And then, you get back to the room, and your feet are screaming at you, and you just stop. So then, you can do something really simple and sit there and just kind of let all the tension and everything flow out of you. And
Right.
It's like an Avlia chart is, perfect for that kind of thing. And
Right.
so I would go with 3, 2 also. But then, in the bigger picture, line them up and stack them up. Let's go.
Right.
Because
right.
I think that's now. I mean, I haven't done that lately because I've been so focused on this sampler. But like you talk about working on 4 in a day. That's nice variety. That keeps you energized. That keeps your head working.
Right. And they're different techniques. So more than a rose, it's the background stitch, but I'm using a metallic thread. It's requiring pulled work, so I have to keep my tension fairly even. I have to do a lot of compensating, so it isn't totally mindless when you work on it. So I set a timer because I found I was having a hard time getting back to that. No, who wants to work on the background, right? And so I said, okay, 30 minutes and you can be done for today. And it helped. It's moving it forward.
Right.
So and the same with the porte-a-fete. I work on that in the mornings, and I give it about 30 minutes. Now I might not get a letter completed. Some of those larger motifs are too much for me to do in 30 minutes. And it's because it's tiny count, so I've got to be careful with my needle placement. But I'm making progress by doing 30 minutes a day too. So and it's nice to have that variety. It's fun to see it progress and have the variety.
Yeah. Now, so I think we're pretty much in agreement. Yeah, but then bring them on, and then her second question: do you have a categorization system? Yeah.
No.
No, that's a simple one. And there's no elaboration on that. Just no. No. Sorry.
Well, and I think of Gay Ann Rogers, who she has one. So she likes that large, medium, small.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be large could mean that she has a lot of background to do, and she's filling in the background in one of her portraits. Small could be that she has a complex, something very complex on her, and she's working on the design, so it might be more intense. So I don't know. Yeah, but no.
You can define those, but categorization. Yeah, I have a plastic box here with all the threads in it for my active projects, and it's overflowing. That's my categorization. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. No, not happening. No, not happening. But all right, so here's a question. Okay, all right, you've got 2 or 3 cross stitch pieces going at once, or more. I'm sure you could stack up quite a few.
Yes.
Could you take cross stitch pieces, and even though you're just making X's, you're just blindly making X's and following a chart, could you rank those and say, all right, here's my 3, I'm only doing cross stitch. Here's my challenging one, here's my medium one, and here's my easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all right, so let's pull 3. Spring Hill, Portafett, and Leah. I'm working on Blue Larkspur. The hardest one would be Spring Hill. It's on 45 count. It's got a lot of fill in. It's my large project. My small one is still going to be Portafett, even though it's a huge project, but I'm just working on one small little motif at a time. Blue Larkspur is my medium one, even though it's on 30 count, because it's got a lot more color changes than I thought it did. So it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you could easily, divide them up that way.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's the way I would see it too. Is you start to look at, okay, there's 20 different thread colors, and I'm changing all the time, or there's one color. My banding thing. There's one color. That's an easy one. I'm making X's over one color, bands that are 4.5 inches wide. That's pretty mindless stuff. But yeah, you get into Spring Hill, you got to pay attention.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And then higher thread count on your ground cloth. That you can't just sit there and monkey through it. You got to pay attention what you're doing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. And my Leah design, the Blue Larkspur, I thought it would be like, oh, this is going to be easy. It's on 30 count. That's simple. Well, then I've had to rip out several motifs several times from miscounting errors, and I realized no, I can't, because it's the piece I take a lot of time to my mother-in-law's on Sundays, and we're just sitting and visiting. So I thought it would be a nice piece, just to be cross stitching and visiting, and not a big deal. Well, not so. I mean, it's beautiful. I love it, but I'm like, okay, I've got to make sure I'm not working on one of these motifs that I have to do a lot of counting, because obviously I can't count and talk at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is hang on. Is I look at that kind of a thing, because knitters will go anywhere, anytime, sit and talk for hours, and they're just knitting and purling their brains out. The stuff is just coming out the bottom of their hands like a machine, and they don't miss a beat when in the conversation. And I mean, that's just, annoying. It's that they can do that. It's like, wow.
Right.
But they can. And so then, all right, can needleworkers do that? Well, that's a bit harder to say.
And I think it depends on the pattern.
Yeah.
So this Leah design has a huge line around it. It goes all the way around, and I know I can do like a thread length of that and not have to worry about counting. I just go.
Right.
I just can go.
Right.
So I set it up that way. So a lot of people, what they do is, if they're doing cross stitch, they will, let's say they're going to go to a retreat, they'll outline an area that's got a huge fill-in area, and then they'll say, okay, then when I get to retreat, all I have to do is go back and forth with the solid color and fill this area in.
Yes.
And you can talk. And okay, and here's another good one for this. Do you still have Purple Mountain Majesty framed up?
Yes.
Dan Rogers. Okay, yep. So there's all that tent stitch.
Yes. Yes.
Again, a perfect piece for that, because if you know where that outline ends, you're just filling in.
Yep. Yeah, then you can sit. Yeah, you can sit and talk. You can do anything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you have all the boundaries set,
Mm-hmm.
but if you have one that's not set and you have to count,
no.
For me, I'll blow right past that and have to pull out a whole bunch of stuff every time. Yeah.
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 Yes. Or miscount, like, oh, wait a second, this is not fitting in here.
Right. Yeah.
All gotta come out. All gotta come out. Oh.
But yeah, so you can do it, and I think that's like just to use Avlia as her meditative pieces. That's the beauty of those, is once you establish the pattern, it's just repetitive, right. and so you can just go, and right. Yeah, you can that you can do in a social thing. But then, all right, so then you've done it. I haven't. You've done it. Is that rude to be in a conversation and be stitching?
Well, and I think it depends on where you are and what you're doing. But okay. For me, I stitch a lot in public. So we have Sunday school. When we were attending Sunday school at our church, I brought stitching with me because I tend to pay attention better if my hands are busy. And I found I was looking out the window. It's like one of those kids. It's like, okay, so this child is not paying attention in school. But if I was stitching, I knew where they were. I could I'd know the passages they were in the Bible. I could answer questions. It's just how I am. And I used to be that way in college too. I used to drive people next to me crazy. I would write letters to my mother and take notes at the same time. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I just can't just sit and listen to this lecture. It just, I lose my train of thought."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't pay attention to them. So I just need that extra little bit of a distraction.
Yeah.
But there are times when it just doesn't seem like it's appropriate. You're having a deep conversation. Then I just don't stitch. I just put it away, or and don't work on it.
Yeah. Because see, I'm made like that too. If I have something that I'm doing, and there's a conversation going on, to a degree, that helps me. But if it's if it's a conversation I have to focus on, then no. But yeah, I can do that, and I've often wondered because I'll admit, we think we found a church here in St. Louis, and so we've gone to church 3 times, and new ministers, so new voice and new patterns and messages. So I'm pretty locked in. But now, the last time we went, I found my mind wandering, and during the sermon, and I wondered, if I had some stitching going on, would it be easier to pay attention? I think it would be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know you're not supposed to admit that your mind wanders during a sermon, but mine does. It's the way it is.
Right. Right. And I think that's why people doodle in church. Maybe it's just something to keep you, that little bit of yourself occupied, so that way you can pay attention the rest of the time. But yeah, and for like on Sundays when I'm at my mother-in-law's, we're just chatting, and again, we go every Sunday, so they know I'm going to bring stitching, and so to me that, they just expect me to have something out and working on something.
Yeah, you've established the behavior there. But then in like if you were meeting a new couple for dinner or going to a new neighbor's house, then that's a little different.
Right. And I wouldn't do that. It just wouldn't be comfortable bringing something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. I just wonder because I've stitched in public maybe twice, and both times have been at airports where I'm waiting for a flight, and nobody knows me. I just sit there in a corner and just stitch, and I've done it on airplanes more than once, but I don't count that. People can't get up and walk by, So,
right. They can't look at you.
Right. Yeah, that's a great dilemma for me because I'm an aisle seat person, but if I want to stitch, I really want a window seat. I want to be tucked in the corner there so that because I don't want my elbow out in the aisle all the time.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a whole nother thing. What's the best seat on public transportation for stitching? I don't know.
One where you have the whole row to yourself. That's the ideal.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you guys move out of here. I need the space.
Yeah, I need the space so I can stitch. They look at you like you're a weirdo.
Yeah. So okay, all right. So I'm gonna write to Heather. What's my optimum number of embroidery projects? Yeah, all of them.
Oh. As many as I can have.
That's right. Yep. All right. Now this is a little long, but it really is interesting. So Angela Nowicki from Chemnitz, Germany. Chemnitz, I don't know. Chemnitz, Germany. I always got to know how to spell these things, and I don't do German, so I don't know. Anyway, she says kind things about Fiber Talk, and she's listening, making her way through all the podcasts from the bottom up. But we struck a chord with her. And so, and this really got both of us thinking. Okay, so I'm just going to read what she says, and then we'll see what we think. I don't really understand the whole PDF versus printed chart thing. You always say support your local needlework shop, and I agree with that, as long as you have a local needlework shop within walking or reasonable driving distance. We in Germany don't. There are 4, maybe 5 brick-and-mortar needlework shops in the country of which I know, and all of them are in West Germany and maybe Berlin, while I'm living in East Germany. There was one 80 kilometers from my city. No idea if it still exists because, that didn't go well. Shop owners, you really got to be nice to your customers. You really do.
Yes.
That having said, driving 160 kilometers would cost me 35 euros, which I just don't have to spare. So if you don't, 160 kilometers, that's 60 is 120, 130 miles. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Long haul. No, that's not right. It's basically 100 miles. So, yeah. So if you don't have a local shop, you have to order your chart online or by phone, right? If they send you a printed chart, you will have to pay for the shipping, which would be, in my country, an additional 5 euros. The shop doesn't get anything out of it. It's for the parcel service. If you have the luck to find your chart in my case, German shop. If you're not so lucky, you have to order it abroad, which pushes the shipping costs up to 12 to 15 euros minimum and adds import sales tax plus a flat rate of minimum 6 euros for the parcel service. For the financial situation of many of us, this is madness. Well, that's something they have to deal with in Europe that we don't hear, is all those add-on taxes and fees that when it comes to shipping, we don't generally have to deal with. I really feel sorry for them in that regard. Wouldn't it be, therefore, much better if already the shops offered the charts as downloadable PDFs? Whether you get a ready printed chart or you print it yourself on your own printer, where's the difference? The copyright issue remains the same. If someone wants to cheat, what is stopping her or him from copying the printed chart and giving it away, or give away a printed chart he or she has already used? The only remaining question would be, do I sell my PDF charts through a needlework shop or through my own shop? But that wasn't the actual question of the day. Why not support all private online and Etsy shops, as for instance Mary Corbett's e-shop, where she's selling her patterns as downloadable PDFs for many years? Thanks for all you've done and still doing for the needlework world. So, all right, well, thanks to Angela for writing, number one, and for listening from the bottom up. That's
amazing.
Yeah, bravo for that. That's a lot of them. So, but she raises a good question. And you know, if you set aside the European limitations when it comes to shipping, you know, if you just take that out of the equation, the basic question applies across, you know, around the world. This PDF versus a chart thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think, well, and I was just thinking, you know, I live in a needlework desert. I have to order things online. I have to go to a physical shop. It just doesn't happen that often anymore. So I think the issue is too, people want some of these charts that we just order them from our needlework store, and
right.
and shipping is cheap for us. I mean, I think Kim gives a fairly reasonable rate for her shipping. I want to say it's $4 was the last time I checked. So that's reasonable for whatever you put in your cart for charts. But I can see why people would want those PDFs if you had to get it from, wanted it from the United States to anywhere in Europe, because to do that is terribly pricey.
Right.
And I know some of the designers do it for that reason, make it a PDF. I think our concern is, supporting the brick and mortar shop. So if the designers are selling it on their own, we want to make sure the shops stay open. We don't want to lose more of our shops.
Right.
I just read somewhere else, someone said their local needlework shop is closing. We don't know if the owners got older and are selling out, or whatever. But it's nice to go to a physical shop. So, and then if you think of places like in Wyoming or out in the Great Wild West, you really can't get to a shop.
Right.
Things are really, really far away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if you stitch a lot of those cross-stitch charts, I can understand why you'd want them as a PDF.
Yeah.
You can look at them on your tablet. They're fast to do. I don't know.
Right. Well, it's to me, there's a couple of you could break this apart in a couple of ways. Because if we look at designers, okay, designers want their charts in shops. But there's an increasing number of designers who are also selling from their websites.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the shop or they're selling from their website. And you can find them who are selling kits. Because you can make the argument, well, if I buy a PDF from a designer, I still need that needlework shop to kit the thing up. And, that you can make that argument. But then you can find designers who will also sell kits. And so if I look at that, and then, of course, you have the whole Etsy thing. I mean, there is a ton of designers who are selling designs on Etsy who are not in shops. And then, of course, you can make the argument, well, all right, if you buy from them, virtually none of them are selling kits, then you still go to the shop and get your kit.
Right.
You get your threads and your whatever. And so there becomes a gray area. And it takes me back to Cindy Baldwin and I, it was a couple of months ago on a Wednesday show. We were just kind of speculating along these lines. And we talked about what the shop of the future would be and how you could have in a shop. Let's just use Sassy Jack's, for instance, just to have a shop to refer to. So Kim could say, I don't know that we have to have a shop, but anyway, Kim could say, all right, I'm going to take the available retail space I have, and I'm going to set up a corner with 3 or 4 computers and printers, and I'm going to have a catalog of all the charts I carry. And you go there and you search for them, and then you find one you want, and then you print it out. And then you now have the printout, and then now let's kit it up for you. Let's get thread and ground cloth, and let's kit the thing up. Now, from a pure retail business perspective, that frees up an awful lot of space that's being consumed by paper charts.
Right.
A huge amount of space. So then that starts to open up things like, all right, now I can carry more lines of thread. I can have more table space for cutting ground cloth. I can have an area, if you're a small shop, I can now have an area where people can sit around a table and stitch. So I can have a stitch day or stitch evening. That starts to change the dynamic there. and then you don't have that inventory come tax time of all these paper charts you have to account for.
Mm-hmm. And you're only printing as needed.
Right.
And that's such a huge advantage there.
Right. You get a really good printer, so they get a nice quality printout. And you have ink, you have computers, but computers at some point are relatively inexpensive, and you can carry more charts because now you're not limited to the retail space you have, and you can carry old charts because they're not taking up space. If they're not selling, you don't care; they're just data on a drive somewhere. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's I think you have to look hard at that, and you still sell them. You still sell them for the retail price because you're still providing that service. You're providing a place for people to come and search a central location. They don't have to go to 15 different designer sites. A central location where they can search for, say reproduction samplers. You can put that in and you could sit there all day long if you want and pour through them until you find the ones you want. Right. So I can see that working as an advantage for a retail shop. I mean that, but I don't know. It's because you don't want none of us wants these shops to go away. I mean, without these shops, I don't know what we'll do.
Right.
We need the shop because you need the shops, and people say, well, I can get my thread from Joann's. Well, don't, quite frankly, don't do that. Support the shops. But you need these shops because how many times is a thread not available or the chart is spec'd in DMC and you want it in silk without these shop owners, unless you're really good with colors and have the ability, because the shop can lay out the silks on the table.
Right.
And if you're going off of pictures, that's gutsy.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm working on my painted canvas, and after we talked to Kathy Ray last Wednesday, I realized I really just need to send her a photo of my painted canvas and say, what do you suggest for this border? And you know what? She was able to pull threads. She laid them out. She had some suggestions. I gave her some DMC numbers. I said, this is kind of what I'm working on for the background. This is what I'm using. This is the color numbers that are in these other pieces, parts of this piece. So, what do you think will work? Because I don't have a shop locally. And even the ones that are local don't do needlepoint necessarily. They're cross-stitched shops.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I need a physical person. You can scroll. Because I tried. I thought, I can go through and pick out what I need. Because she's got a good online catalog. I was like, no, I'm going to have to put too much in my cart to make sure I get the right color. I'm just going to send her a note. And then she might pull one or two extra. But instead of me saying, well, is this really the right color of green that I need? I can't really tell on the screen. I'll order all three. She said, oh, here, just these two. These will work. It was perfect.
Yep.
It was perfect.
And see, that's the power. That's why it's so important. Because you take Kim at Sassy Jack's, Jean Lee at the Attic, Kathy at Needle in a Haystack. You just take those three, and there are many, many others who can do this. The knowledge they have in selecting threads, and you just watch the thread talks with Kathy Ray that we've had. The knowledge she has of the different kinds of threads for a painted canvas. You can't do that. Like you said, you would have to order so many threads, many of which you'd never use,
right?
Or have to return, which is, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. They would just live in my stash. Right. And I don't mind having a few extra threads because we all know I like them. But after a point in time, it's like, okay, I just need certain things for this canvas. And I don't want to buy a whole bunch more threads. I'm trying to use what I have, and I don't have anything that'll work. And so let's limit this a little bit.
Right.
But or let's say you're doing a reproduction sampler, and you're like, well, this really doesn't go with my house, but you call Jean at the attic and say, hey, I really want to change these blues to reds or reds to blues. I want to change it to silks. I want to change it to, is there any way you have, in this thread line, I really like this thread line. Can we do it in that? You can't just go online and check that out. It's impossible. Not unless you have, there is a way. If you had a DMC card, a Veriswa card, I don't know if Gloriana has a thread card.
Yeah.
Rainbow Galleries used to have thread cards. If you had that'd be a lot of thread cards to keep in your house.
Right.
Unless you're,
Oh yeah.
Experts do it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, that's all fine and good, but then what about your ground cloth?
Mm-hmm.
Kim, kit this up for me. I think I want this ground cloth and do a conversion to silks.
Right.
And she lays them all out on the ground cloth, and the next thing you get an email, well, this is great. This all works except these two colors. They don't stick out. I'm suggesting these two colors in as a replacement if you want to use this ground cloth, or we have this other ground cloth that would make them all stand out. That's advice you can't, because then, thread cards, but you can't have, they're not cloth cards for all of the linens.
No. And with the linen, being harder to get, being willing to be flexible. I mean, because we just had market just, and everyone's looking at all these wonderful charts that just came out. If you say, okay, Kim, what do you have? I kind of I prefer it to be lighter, or I want to do this on a dark fabric. What do you have? What has come in? And she can say, well, this came in, or I just bought this color, and lay it out for you, and she'd be able to make a choice, help you make a choice.
Right. Yeah, there's just so much value in that, and I think of Jean Lee. I mean, for her sampler of the month every month, she does a silk conversion. She does silk conversions for everything because, as she says, she's a silk snob. So, but there's that's that knowledge and experience that they have. All these skilled shop owners, that's something they have that you can't get. And if you want to have a basement full of every thread color everywhere, so you can go pull the same thing, more power to you. But people can't do that. And so we need to protect those shops. I mean, but I also think that we're in a real transitional period these days in regards to buying, particularly charts, because the internet and downloadable PDFs gives too many options, and people are going to take advantage of those options, especially like you, where there's nobody around. You have to spend basically an entire day if you want to go to a shop.
Right. Right.
I'm really kind of in a spot too, where if I want to do painted canvas, I can have 2 shops within 10 minutes. Outside of that, I'm out of luck too. I got nothing. It's kind of that. Well, yeah, you do have needlework shops within 10 minutes of you, but I don't do painted canvas that much or hardly at all. So not much use to me. But it's a transition period we're in.
Well, and I also think I've seen a lot of people using the pattern keeper. So they like to use their tablets to upload the charts to that, and I can understand that. I think some of the larger charts, especially, are nice. You can mark them off. I'm a little bit of a Luddite, so I haven't gotten into that. But I can see why people like that, and then also the advantage is you don't have those pieces of paper chart laying all around.
Right.
You've got your little catalog of your charts. They're on your on a file in your computer or on the cloud or wherever you store them, and it's they're easy to get to. I can understand that, especially the younger stitchers who are much more comfortable than, like for me, than I am on using something like that, using your tablet or
right.
your phone to look at things. So yeah, I think we are in that transition period. But again, we just keep thinking we went through a whole period of time here. It's just been recently that needlework has again picked up steam again, especially with the cross stitch. And you and I can both remember when, we were the lone people doing, we're doing needlework here. People don't tend to forget that. And we just don't want those things to go away.
No, no.
Our shops to go away.
Yeah. And there's going to be increasing amounts of opportunity to buy online. I mean, there's no question. I mean, that's just the world we're in. But the skill that is in these shops and the ability to say, well, I got this thread in, but I really don't care for it. I'm not sure I want to sell this. I mean, that's a screening thing that would cost you actual money to do. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, especially at a time when needlework, like you said, is just raging in terms of activity. How is this going to play out? And we need young people to do in the hobby to keep it alive, and we are seeing, particularly with cross stitch, a lot of young people. And they're going to go the electronic method. They're going to go the online method. As much as they can, because that fits their approach. And I'm with you. I like having that piece of paper there. I like having the actual original chart. But that's all we've known for how long?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to watch. But I think that through it all, that we need to support our local shops is just that we can't let that go away, because we can't let those shops go away. We need them. And, there's fewer every day. And, yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. And Angela, I think we understand, because in Europe, it's harder to get some of the charts that you see on FlossTube, you see on the internet, and you're like, okay, I'd like to have that one, but shipping and customs and all that's, cost prohibitive. And right. I can understand why PDF appeals. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And every time that we talk to somebody from Europe, and the subject of threads comes up, and it's so hard for them to get threads, and you just want to get a box and fill it and send it to them,
Right.
Because we're spoiled. I mean, we're spoiled rotten with all the thread options we have. They can't get their hands on even a fraction of it. And yeah. So, all right, Angela, I don't know if we answered your question, Angela, or cleared things up for you, but I don't think there's a real clear answer. But definitely in her case, driving 100 miles to buy a chart, that's not happening. Yeah.
No.
None of us would do that. Yeah.
No.
So I don't know. Well, anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to have this same discussion 3 years from now. I bet we're talking a different ballgame.
Yeah.
Well,
even 3 years ago, PDFs were not as prevalent as they are now.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, quickly changing world.
Yep. All right. That's interesting. Okay. Now we have been carting this one around for several times.
Okay.
All right. The question, do we have favorite counted canvas designers, or do we have favorite designers in general?
Right.
And I think, yeah, we do.
We do.
No offense. No offense to the other people, but we do have favorites.
Everybody has favorites.
Yes. So let's try cross stitch first.
Well, I have to agree. I like Rosewood Manor. Her work is beautiful. There's something for everybody in there.
Yep.
But the other thing I started collecting is those Betsy Morgan Willing Hands books 1 and 2, because I like, and hers are mainly counted. They're counted techniques. She has some what people call specialty stitches in them. But I think what I like about her work is it's got the construction. You have to make something with it. I just love looking at those. The etuis in her box.
Yeah. Yep.
But Rosewood Manor.
Yeah, I would say for cross stitch, I've said it before and I'll say it every time it comes up. Best in the business, Karen Kluba, Rosewood Manor. For the catalog of designs she has, the variety, sizes, designs, design types, use of threads and colors. I just don't, I mean, there's a lot of people that are close, but I just think she is the best in the business. I really do.
Right.
That Autumn Hill, holy smokes.
I know.
And I didn't send it to you, but I saw someone did a silk conversion for Autumn Hill.
I know. And I think Vicki Clayton was talking about doing one too, and so I'm kind of watching her site.
Yeah, but
and because the colors, I think I like it better than Summerhill. I like Summerhill, but Autumn Hill.
Yep.
Those colors are just scrumptious. And then the other one, did you look up her crosshatch sampler? It's the one with the herons at the bottom.
Yes, I did. Yes.
I love that. I think you could do just that bottom section as like a drum.
Oh.
Like make it into a drum or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I live close to the Mississippi, and we get egrets and those sort of birds out here, and our pelicans are back. So I kept thinking, that would be so cool to have that, to just do that little bottom section.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I that one's fine with me, but you had me at Tisket to Tasket.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
That one has been ordered. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, reproduction samplers. We agree on this one too.
Yeah. Queenstown. Yeah. She does beautiful work. I mean, she's got a lot of variety. It's got a huge depth there. But Kim's been from Sassy Jack's, Sassafras Samplers. She's got, what I like about hers is Kim's are very special, like the AC Bluebird. Then she has Mabel Took that she's talking about re-releasing. She doesn't have a huge amount of them out, but the ones she has are very, very special.
Yep.
And I like that.
Yep. Same for me. Queenstown samplers. Barbara Hudson that's my go-to. But and I'll tell you what tipped it in for me with Sassafras samplers was when Kim and Susan Greening Davis did that show a couple weeks ago and showed the stuff she has coming up. Oh man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, now, I mean, I like some of her previous ones, but some of these coming up are just terrific. I'd hurry up and release them.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm tired of, I've seen this now. I don't want to wait for it. So I think she's starting to establish a real nice place in the reproduction sampler thing with the Sassafras samplers, without a doubt. Right. Yeah.
Right. And hers, I think she has quite a few in her collection, but I think she tries to make sure they're special. They're not just doing the same thing again and again.
Right. Right.
And I love that. It made huge the Bristol one that I've been pestering her. I'm like, okay, when is, she says, we're waiting for it from the printer, Beth. I'm like, well, I need to order it, and I can't get it. Not yet. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one coming out.
Because that's the thing, and that's I think where Barbara Hudson stands out too. Is there, you can go through their catalog, and there are different kinds of samplers, because some catalogs you go through, and quite frankly, they all start to look the same. But there's band samplers, and there's all kinds of things that make them different in both of them. So yeah, I'm with you. Sassafras samplers. Yep. Got to pay attention to that one. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah.
And that Bristol. I got to have the Bristol too. Yep.
Yes.
Maybe if we both pester her, the printer will print faster. Do you think?
Yeah, maybe. And she's like, you two leave me alone.
Okay, counted canvas.
Yeah, Dan Rogers. I could stitch her all day.
Yep.
I mean, and a friend of mine is doing Catherine. She's been nagging me to get mine out too. It's Young Catherine, I think, is the name of the canvas. And she said, the stitches aren't that difficult. And I'm like, yeah, they're not. There's nothing hard about her stitches. It's the way she places them on the canvas to get the design. And she's been posting on my guild's Facebook page, and watching that piece develop over time, it is just gorgeous. The colors Gayanne chose, the stitches she chose, it's just fabulous. It's a fabulous piece.
Yeah. She's special. She's special. Now, and I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Gayanne Rogers. Now, of course, those like the Queens and stuff, not my cup of tea, but so many of her other things, they're just outstanding, every single one of them. But then for geometrics, for me, no mystery here. It's Debbie Rowley. I've always loved the work she does. I don't know what it is. But I just love the way she uses threads, the way she does colors, and the variety of stitches. And, of course, her instructions are unmatched. And, yeah, that, for me, is when it comes to geometric type counted canvas, it's Debbie Rowley for me, yeah.
Right. Well, and this is totally your fault.
Thank you.
And Debbie's, I signed up for that angles class, and I haven't pulled the canvas or anything, but I thought, okay, I'm going to listen to the Zoom lectures. I signed up for the class. I might as well listen. Well, I'm just kind of stitching on something else and listening, thinking, okay, I know how to do these stitches. This isn't going to be a big deal. And she's been giving pointers, like where to start your sprat head so that you don't see your starting point, because, you're doing a pin stitch. And she gives an exact placement. And I'm thinking, wait, I need to make notes on this. And then and again, there was something else that so again, as a teacher, and I've never taken a class from her before, but that was just that fabulous information she gave. And there's been 2 Zoom classes.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not physically able to stitch the piece right now. I just cannot pull it out. I can't. But I'm going to have to go grab my instructions and go re-listen to the Zoom lectures so I can take notes on these fabulous pointers she's giving. It's like I'm in a real class with her, except now it's spread out. Instead of crammed into a 3-day workshop, it's spread out over 6 to 8 weeks. And so I will get all this information over time. So fabulous teacher.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. So, okay, Gayanne and Debbie Rowley. All right. Surface embroidery.
Oh, this were totally different.
Yes.
Ariane Searcher or Hazel Bloomkamp. I like Ariane does very freeform, very she calls it improvising her stitching. And I like that. She's truly an artist. But what I like is she's not afraid to experiment with threads. She says, what's the worst that can happen? I hate it and I have to cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
She's, I got to try a bigger needle with it. Or she said she finally is using a hoop, which kind of cracked me up. She's like, I don't like using hoops. I don't like use. And then she realized that she got better results on bouillon nuts when she was using a hoop.
Oh, okay.
I found interesting. But she's not afraid to experiment, and I think I like that. I like that about her.
Yeah.
And
yeah. See, I appreciate her art, but the free form, I just, if I was to sit down and do it, I struggle with that. I don't know that I could do it. I wouldn't enjoy it. I appreciate the art, and there are others who do that free form kind of stuff, and I enjoy looking at it and appreciating it. But if you say, "Hey, would you stitch it?" Yeah, I just can't. It doesn't fit me.
Right. Right.
You know. So okay, yeah. So for me, service embroidery, Trish Burr.
Yeah.
Because now there's the other end of the spectrum, where the birds. I mean, put a picture of a bird up there, a photograph of a bird, and put up Trish Burr's, and then stand back 10 feet and tell me the difference.
Right.
See, that to me, that connects me with that kind of thing.
Right. And she's, from what I can see, she does a beautiful job teaching you how to get those results too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fabulous teacher in that regard.
Yeah.
Again, beautiful work. I agree.
Right.
Just beautiful work.
Yeah. Yeah, but much more structured than Ariane. Yeah.
Right. And then I put Hazel Bloomkamp down because she does the same sort of thing. She took crewel embroidery and used threads that she had on hand instead of using wool. Used other things to create that effect, and I like that, her creativity in that way.
Yeah. And see, and I would agree with you on Hazel. Plus, I like her style.
Mm-hmm.
I like her animals, the style she has. There's a whimsy and a fun to them, and a variety and challenge, and the colors are great. I really enjoy her style a lot. Yeah.
Right.
And I think I would I think I would add to the list Mary Corbett.
Yes.
She has, I mean, hers a completely different style to her work. But I think I would add her, because there's a good challenge there, and you want to talk about teaching. Taking a project and knowing that you have a teacher behind that's going to make it successful in surface embroidery. There's Mary Corbett. That's it right there.
Right. And again, I like her desire to experiment. With threads, because she does. Not the same way Ariana Zurcher does, but she was doing lines of stitches just with thread colors. It was some sort of sampler she had, and so she was just playing with what she had, and I love that. I love that too about her.
Yes, yeah, yeah. There's nothing boring about her. Always something different. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Gold work, stump work, blah blah blah. That whole world.
Well, Allison Cole is a great, you have her as gold work. I put her as stump work. She's just so versatile.
Yeah, because tell me she does one better than the other. I don't think so.
No, she doesn't. No. Beautiful things.
No doubt. For me, the standout. Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of beautiful gold work people, but Allison Cole, I mean, Jenny Aiden Christie.
Yes.
That's pretty spectacular stuff. But day in, day out, Allison Cole for me. Yeah.
Yeah, she does beautiful things, and I love her stump work. She's in that pincushion book.
Yes.
That Cindy Baldwin actually that was her fault. So we'll blame her for that one.
Yep.
And she was in there for that. What is that? Nodding, some sort of nodding orchids. Just beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Okay, so we agree on that. White work. I don't even have to give 3 seconds on that.
Yvette Stanton.
Yeah, that's easy. Easy pickings there. Yep.
Yeah, and because her books are fabulous, just to to look at, and her instructions,
Yep.
the history in them, the depth of her work. Yeah.
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 Well, and that's just it. It's not just one type of white work. It's superb design and superb instruction for how many different types of white work.
Right.
And white work we didn't know existed 5 years ago,
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yvette Stanton. Yeah. There's nothing. So nothing beats that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. That was our list.
That was our list.
That's a good list.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was lots of others we didn't even, Jane Nicholas, she has some beautiful stump work.
Yeah. See, that's the trouble. That's the trouble with a list like this, is you got to leave people like her off.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And then of course, we're doing the 17th century whitework class with Tricia Nguyen, and talk about getting the history lesson while you're at it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I mean, you don't just do the needlework. You've got this whole history thing you're supposed to read before you even get to your stitching.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You're a smarter person when you get done with one of her things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're not just going to have a piece finished. You're going to have a whole bunch of knowledge on how things are done.
Right.
Or were done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I think if you step back from all of it, overall, I mean, those are the number ones, and then there's probably half a dozen or more 1A people in every one of those categories.
Right.
I mean, how fortunate we are to have so many good designers in so many different areas.
Right.
You want to try something, boy, there's just a bunch of people who are really good at it with really good designs, and who are anxious to have people try the technique. Are all about furthering the cause. And
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really fortunate that we have so many around the world. It really is. Yeah.
Right. And we're living in an age and a time where we can see them, we have access to them.
Right.
The internet makes that so much easier. Back to that PDF question.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, you can go online and take an online class with Allison Cole.
Right.
You don't have to go to Australia. It'd be nice to go to Australia, but you don't have to go.
Yeah. Well, 8-10 years ago, would we even know who Allison Cole is?
Right. Right.
Would we even know Inspirations Magazine exists?
No.
Probably not.
No. Mary Corbett kept, would show these things. Well, even Tricia Nguyen, her casket, her jacket. I know I first read about it on Mary Corbett's blog.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
what would we do without Mary Corbett? Yeah.
I don't know. And her sharing her love of needlework with all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And someone who has every right to, quite frankly, just be tired of it as much as she does. And, her enthusiasm just never wanes. I mean, she just this week she's got a new project that she's finishing up. She just always something. It's so impressive how she just keeps going. Truly loves it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And loves it and wants to share it. Not just loves it and keeps it to herself, but,
right.
Yeah. Special lady there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Gonna have to be it.
All right.
I hope we did Angela Nowicki some good. I hope we helped her. I don't know.
Yeah.
We tried.
We tried.
We get effort points is what we get. Yep.
Effort for points. Good.
Yep. All right. Tonight, 8:00 Eastern time on the YouTube channel, we're going to Stitch and Chat, and join us for that. Note that if you are a Stitch Hour person, there will not be one next Wednesday. Not one next Wednesday. I'd be happy to do one on bike riding with my sister.
But you don't want to take all that equipment with you.
No.
On the bike.
No, I don't. So my sister's a blast. I mean, it would be
fun.
It'd be fascinating
to meet her. Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be about bikes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening.
All right, bye.